and high traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Maggie Forciedo. In the news tonight, Health Ministry receives additional personal protective equipment. Young farmers to receive training from Tika. Man cycles to Namibia from Cape Town in protest against Recon Africa. Namibia a victim of its own success, says IPPR. And Roundup, Comments Corner, Business on One, Sports and the weather. Now for the news in detail. The Ministry of Health and Social Services today received additional personal protective equipment and intensive care unit medical equipment from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The consignment, valued at over $200,000 include, amongst others, 10,000 K95 respiratory face masks, 1,500 personal protective overalls with hood level 3, 50 oxygen flow meters, 7 portable surgical suction units, and 5 vital sign monitors. Selma Topopi has this report.
Truly the world has seen many diseases being eradicated through vaccinations, notably smallpox, and also in our case we had a situation of poliomyelitis in the early 2000s, which we have managed to eliminate through vaccination, through mass vaccination, to such an extent that Namibia is declared polio-free, and we have been able to achieve this feat through mass vaccination. It is our hope and our conviction that we can still attain the same feat in the case of COVID-19.
Receiving the consignment, Minister of Health and Social Services notes that the items are received at an opportune time as the ministry has experienced an increase in COVID-19 cases, which has put demand on the ministry's resources.
I am pleased that your donation contained the most needed items. Personal protective equipment. They are on essential commodities in our fight. We need to protect our healthcare workers so that only when they are protected, they are in a position to assist others. I will not narrate the list of items which you have donated, but they go towards the protection of healthcare workers as well as to help in the management of those patients who are in the intensive care unit. we have to confront this battle at many fronts. Prevention remains the key, and it underlines the old axiom that prevention is always better than cure. I'm very much happy with your commitment, which you have just expressed, of your support towards the vaccination campaign which Namibia has embarked upon.
Other items part of the over $200,000 consignment also include 5 high-flow respirators, 5 full face masks for CPAP unit, 219 body bags, 10 theatre head covers, and 300 Medline isolation level 3 gowns. Handing over the consignment, the church commended the ministry's efforts in its fight towards COVID-19, encouraging continued adherence to health regulations put in place.
So, Honorable Minister and distinguished officials, the implication of the quotation from the Bible, the love God and loving thy neighbor, has got practical implications for us today at this particular time. Due to too much suffering, loss of life and grief, and so because of COVID-19, and so we all need to join our hands and our hearts together to fight the scourge of the COVID-19 pandemic in our country. The wearing of face masks, adhering to all safety and preventative measures to stop the spread of COVID-19 virus demonstrates our love, as taught by the Savior, our love for our neighbors, and our love for our brothers and our sisters. This commandment is the same reason why the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints decided to make this donation to the ministry.
The ministry has extended its gratitude to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, stressing the importance of partnership, adding that it's not only the ministry's responsibility to fight the novel coronavirus.
We can't wait to be together again. But until then, let's stay safe.
Hey, this is Script, and you can catch me on One Africa TV on Sundays at 8 p.m. as we chat to Namibian changemakers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and doers who are changing the game. 99 FM Game Changers is supported by Paratus. Limiting potential is not an option. Think big.
The Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency TICA donated seeds and gardening tools for agricultural practices to the youth. The training is aimed at empowering women and youth on becoming horticultural farmers and agriculture contributors to alleviate poverty. This report from Hendrina Caniolo.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
I'm a beneficiary in the youth garden in Maheke region. So what I'm going to use the seeds, some of the seed I didn't have to plant in my garden. For now I received some news that it's going to be useful for me to plant it around my area and to help to encourage other people also to plant, to have their own backyard gardening and for them to live on.
I program Andipandura. So Tito Guafere no Gucha. Tupa embuto nilongifo. Embuto donda andike jikune. De popondi benefit ma embuto. The
Namibian youth representing all 14 regions in the country received seeds and gardening tools from the Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency. This is aimed at the socio-economic change while empowering youth in agricultural productions to improve food security and create jobs.
As TICA, we value and recognize agriculture and youth empowerment as one of our main agendas. As agriculture is known as one of the main contributors to the country's gross domestic products, we strongly believe that agriculture is the source of food supply and it has enormous potential for improving the social welfare of the local communities through the rising agricultural surplus caused by increasing agricultural production. TICA cares about the youth because they are the catalysts of the change. Our agenda can be realized through full engagement of the energetic youth that are passionate about horticultural farming. Through the vibrant and energetic youth, we will realize sustainable agricultural practices, prosperity of communities, as well as the nation at large. The country's social economy can be improved through sustainable projects which will promote equitable growth for the Namibian society. We as TICA are aiding the communities through supporting the youth to expand their knowledge and experience on horticulture, which will improve the local production of horticulture fresh produce. Horticulture production will eventually improve food security as well as change the economy from input dependent into a knowledge-based lessening on imported vegetables.
The Vice Chairperson of the National Youth Council said that the initiative started last year where youth received training to gain different skills in order for them not only to have the skills but also put them to practice and learn how to become businessmen and women to curb unemployment and poverty.
6 young people from the areas where the garden is in were taken as volunteers to work in the garden. They are the direct beneficiaries of the initiative, because they're able to work in the garden, but also what comes out of the garden they're able to sell for their own benefit, for their own allowances. That's the first one. Secondly, the reason why TICA is having this training in collaboration with NYC and with UNAM is to ensure skills development happens. When we launched the gardens, we had not done skills development. Now we are able to train the leaders of these gardens, which are working in the gardens, 14 of them, in different aspects of agriculture, but also how to take their produce to the market. They will be trained in. Also, 14 other people are here to be trained. They are the coordinators of the regions for NYC. They are staff members. Whatever comes out of when the skill is given, when the gardens grow, we are able to cascade it, as I said in my address, to other constituencies in the regions, ensuring that what they've learned is shared, but also produce is shared and benefits from these gardens are shared with the others.
He further said that this is in line with the Sustainable Development Goals, which is targeting poverty alleviation and creating employment for the youth, whilst the program is a once-off program which will end within 4 days, stating that the programs change as the need occurs.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Hello Namibia, we are in this fight against COVID-19 together. Ons is saam. I chose to get the COVID-19 vaccine as soon as it was available because as a nurse, the lives of my patients, family and the community are so important to me. Taking the vaccine gives us a stronger chance to beat COVID-19 together.
Learn more about the vaccine. Make an informed decision. Choose to vaccinate. Protect tomorrow.
Catch Namibia's rising talents displaying the best goals, breathtaking saves, like a 1-2 combination on the pitch, as well as the biggest misses. It's the MTC Hop Soul Youth League Soccer Show, showcasing Africa's next soccer superstars. Only on One Africa Television, every Wednesdays at 18:30. Aye, it's Super Disc on another level.
Fourthly, a South African national spent 6 weeks travelling from Cape Town to Windhoek by bicycle to protest against Recon Africa's oil drilling in the Okavango Basin. Isai Sipunga has more.
Fourthly is one of 200,000 protesters in the world that are strongly demanding that the Canadian company stop the oil drilling activity in the Okavango Basin. He traveled over 1,000 kilometers to raise awareness about the negative impact fossil fuel companies have on the environment.
I've got a petition with me, I've got an online petition too, and as I go along I get people to sign up to say they support me in trying to stop Recon Africa from doing this, because it all threatens the Okavango Delta, and once they poison the water there's going to be no life, no animals, no people, no sustenance of life at all, and the water is going to be polluted. And in such a dry country this, we really need that water. We can't mess around with it. So Recon Africa, sorry, but it's not a good idea, and we need to stop this. So I'm petitioning the government to stop them. And I call it Save Our Swamp, because the Okavango Delta is a swamp as well.
Local activist Ina Marie Shikongo says she is certain that the areas where Recon Africa is operating will end up resembling Nigeria's highly polluted Niger Delta, where oil drilling is said to have caused an environmental and social catastrophe, which resulted in the execution of several Nigerian activists who opposed a Shell oil project in the 90s.
We are also protesting here today, and we are calling on Namibian people to please educate yourself, find out what the gas and oil industry is really all about. How is it going to affect us? Namibia is a desert. Look at Opuo, there's no water. Look at the west. Some parts of Namibia did not have rain for more than 10 years. The climate emergency is here, and now we are now going to poison the place that has water throughout the year, the place that can help us ensure food security. When Windhoek doesn't have water, we also depend on the water coming from the Kavango River.
Many people seem to be against Recon Africa and its activities. The Canadian company has not formally responded to these allegations on Today on One, despite our numerous attempts to provide them with an opportunity to do so. Sven Fourthly, the South African cyclist, plans to cycle to the drill sites in northern Namibia to speak to the affected communities.
The executive director of the Institute for Public Policy Research described Namibia as a victim of its own success, as the country's upper middle income status has significantly impacted the financial viability of the civil society sector. IPPR Executive Director Graham Hopwood made the remarks at a recent stakeholder meeting for the Enhancing Participatory Democracy Program in Namibia held in Windhoek. Joseph Ilonga has this report.
According to Graham Hopwood, the executive director of the IPPR, civil society organizations in Namibia are frequently forced to rely on traditional donors because securing domestic funding from the public and private sectors in the country remains difficult.
About 15 years ago, many donors shifted away from what was called core funding, or funding the administration and the office setup of CSO, to project funding, just funding very particular pieces of work and with particular aims, but not the general functions of the organization. And then, of course, we have, as acknowledged by the President quite a few times, issues that arise from being assessed as a middle-income country by the World Bank, which rules us out of many funding opportunities, and donor priorities have switched away from Namibia just because of the changing world that we live in, and countries have put their money into other areas which they feel are important. Namibia, in some ways, is a victim of its own success. We know we are a stable country. We have a democracy that's 30 years old. So we might not be seen as a priority case, even though consolidation of that democracy is still crucial. Well, the reality is that we haven't really been able to develop alternative funding possibilities and mechanisms inside Namibia. There are some corporate sponsors of civil society, and they play an important role. One or two other sources of funding. And there is obviously government and the National Planning Commission, but that's not really been developed. And obviously, in the current fiscal climate, it's difficult to push that issue forward. And we don't have Namibian philanthropists really who will come forward and support civil society groups. So we are often left looking to what might be called traditional donors, and we are of course very thankful to them.
Globally, Namibia is ranked among the top countries with the highest levels of income inequality. Netsibea, the Director for Development Partners Coordination at the National Planning Commission, added that despite Namibia being classified as an upper middle income country, the social and economic imbalances still persist in the country.
Despite being classified as an upper middle income country, as it was mentioned by the previous speakers, in 2009, with a then per capita GDP of 68,500 Namibian dollars and a Gini coefficient of 0.59%, the social imbalances still persists. And Namibia continues to be faced with multiple development challenges, including poverty and income inequality, high unemployment, as well as human resource capacity constraints. As a result, some development partners have modified our cooperation with them, mainly for socio-economic development.
Sibea also stated that the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, an intergovernmental economic organization, has identified the European Union as one of its member states that contributes the most in terms of development assistance, accounting for 57% of total global development assistance provided by all OECD countries.
We can't wait to be together again. But until then, let's stay safe.
In other leading stories, the Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security has in the past 3 weeks registered a high number of positive COVID-19 cases amongst its staff members at different offices countrywide. Due to the increasing number of new positive COVID-19 cases within the ministry and the country at large, additional measures in line with the World Health Organization are being put in place to ensure the safety of staff and that of members of the public. The ministry is therefore appealing to its clients who are in urgent need of national documents, especially the ID applications, where it requires physical contact, to delay such applications as the ministry is trying to minimize the number of people queuing at its offices. However, those that are in urgent need of national documents are still welcome and will be assisted as usual. And the Ongwediva Town Council handed over a donation of an egg incubator worth 18,000 Namibia dollars to the Faith Poultry Farming Project, a group of residents from Ongwediva New Reception. The donation is part of Council's social responsibility framework, which aims to improve the living standard of Ongwediva residents in various areas. Speaking at the handover ceremony on behalf of the Mayor Tarashal Yefu, Councillor Naimia Mutenu indicated that the Council understands that this effort plays a great role in employment creation, promotion of economic development and advancement of food security. Accepting the donation, the managing member of the project, Teopolina Alwendo, thanked the Council for responding to the request on time, as the incubator was the only option to maximize production, thereby grow the project. She promised to make use of the donated machine to its fullest capacity. The incubator has a capacity of 1,056 eggs and can hatch 176 eggs per week. It functions on solar, batteries, or electricity with an input of 180 to 240 volts.
New Nivea Black and White Deo protects me and my favorite outfit. That's why I feel confident and free. With 5 times Deo Action formula, I stay fresh and protected for 48 hours. And my clothes stay stain-free. Try SA's #1 anti-stain deo.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One and economic indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, there have been a number of organized demonstrations whereby workers down tools for better working conditions and salary increments. There have also been calls, however, for industry players to unite against the common enemy that has led the economy to shrink by 8% this year, leading to more job losses and an increased government debt. The strikes and demonstrations led by union leaders for increments have taken place in both the public and private sector. Last November, the Ministry of Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation released figures that show that nearly 9,000 employees were dismissed by 600 local companies as they struggled to remain operational and profitable. Recently, the governor of the central bank, Johannes Gavahab, met stakeholders in the Erongo region, where he said while he does share the plight of those demanding salary increases, his view and advice is that this might not be the appropriate time to demand such, as many corporates and the government are under severe COVID-19 induced financial strain. Instead, he stressed that everyone needs to be preoccupied with salvaging the economy by prioritizing vaccination across the country. Business on One spoke to local entrepreneur and industrial expert Parastas Nepolo, who also shares the sentiments of the governor.
A lot of better ways to resolve issues, but demonstration will even make the economy to be worse than before. I mean, how do you demonstrate for increment, to be honest? For heaven's sake. Increment this time around. If other people are losing jobs, you at least have your full salary, you have your full benefit, but yet you are crying for increment. So it's a pity that all of us. That's what I'm saying. The size of our economy is not too big. It can come back quickly, but it can only come back quickly if all of us are participating in fighting the economy to come back.
Nepolo further said that those urging employees to take such actions are misleading the workers, as they are not taking into consideration the state of the economy.
My brothers that have the labor organization, this is the time that they should understand. This is not time to motivate or encourage demonstration. This is the time them to start thinking how to help employment. The solution cannot be demonstration anymore unless they are not part of Namibia. They cannot tell people to demonstrate this time. As we know, our country GDP is not good at all.
Union leader Joseph Karweb is of the opinion that issues facing workers cannot be sidelined because of the current economic situation.
When people ought to understand now, and what the employers are understanding, is that with the current economic situation that we are finding ourselves, it means that workers does not have the right to demand for any increment and condition of employment. That becomes the norm of the employers. They ought to say that no, workers have no right to demand. But we fail to understand that the same way the companies are suffering, the same way the workers are suffering. They are also within their rights to demand. For example, if you look at the lot of corruptions that have been happening within Namibia, today we can't come and blame one party because of a lot of corrupt activities that are happening. Money has been stolen left and right, And these are issues that need the governor must come up with policies and guide and strict laws to make sure that money is not stolen from one person to the other one. I think there is a lot of, one could say, figure rules which was failed to understand, and then the Bank of Namibia is one of those instruments that have been put by the government to look at money coming in and money going out. So if the Bank of Namibia was also sleeping, they cannot come and want to talk about others. They must first clean their house and come and talk about others to say that what can we do together. So the governor must stay within his domain and leave the industrial issues for the unions and then the parties that are party to these issues.
Overcoming the negative effects of the pandemic on the economy will take time. However, the central bank did point out that activities in sectors such as mining and agriculture have started to show signs of recovery. And that is all we have for you. Join us again next time for another edition of Business on One.
Winter is here. Let's warm you up by giving you a chance to win one of 12 gas heaters and accessories or a grand prize of 50,000 Namibian dollars. To enter the Winter Warmers competition, simply buy any combination of 2 or more of the following participating brands: Baker's, Five Roses, Fresh Pack, Frisco, or Hug in a Mug, and SMS Winter to 445. And remember to keep your till slip as proof of purchase. Promotions run from the 1st of May to the 31st of July. For more information and entry details, visit 99fm.com.na. T's and C's apply.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Namibia is bleeding. Women and children no longer feel safe in the land of their birth. This is not due to war, but due to gender-based violence perpetrated by mostly men. This call is to our fathers, brothers and sons to unite against gender-based violence. Let us come together and say a big no to gender-based violence. Together, we can build a safer and better society for all. My Namibia, my country, my pride.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. The Namibian government has finally pronounced itself regarding the Ovaherero and Nama reparation deal with the German government for atrocities committed during the 1904-1908 genocide. Namibian Vice President Nangola Mbumba briefed the nation on the outcome of the deal and the outline of how the government plans to use the money to assist the affected communities. Jacob Oira says only 4 tribes should benefit from this agreement, adding that there should be no mixed up or confusion. Shindi says Namibia should stop accepting offers from Western countries as nothing is for free. Frank Torres says people should forgive and forget so that they can be blessed, noting that the Germans have invested a lot in Namibia and continue to do so. While Martin wants to know why the killings took place. And the residents of the Ondandosi village in the Oshikoto region near Onipa are calling on the Environment and Tourism Minister Bohamba Shifeta to intervene and stop the illegal sand mining in the area. Residents claim that a sand mining license was issued to Ondonga Traditional Authority to mine sand in their village. In communication between the affected community and the Onipa Town Council, the council stated that they were not consulted, nor did they grant permission for the activity to take place. The council, in an email response dated 5 May 2021, also stated that they have not received an environmental impact assessment from the owner. Mangolu Kenny says people with money should stop thinking that they are above the law. Jacob questions why it is illegal, noting that someone from the council or government knows about it. While Moses noted that it always depends on who you know. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today on One.
Great combo deal from Choppies. Choppies, great value for your money.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
Time now for today's sports update with Charo Musiandaka.
Welcome to a brand new week of Sports on One. I'm Charo Musiandaka. The Namibian National Paralympic Committee recently received assistance from Namib Sand Fishing Company with an amount of over 30,000 Namibian dollars, which will help the organization develop and grow its athletes. More on this story from Castro Olumbu.
In his remarks, Chairperson of Namib Sand Fishing Company stated that the sponsorship to the Namibian National Paralympic Committee is part of their social corporate responsibility.
We were fortunate to meet the Namibia National Paralympics team. We have also made extensive efforts to learn about who they are and what they want to achieve. We then realized we share many common goals. They care about the community like we do. They are making a difference in people's livelihoods, especially athletes like we are. Moreover, they are contributing to a better Namibia. We believe in this partnership and we trust it is a beginning of a long-lasting relationship.
At the sponsorship announcement held at the Sports Ministry's head office, Michael Hamokoya, Secretary of the Namibian National Paralympic Committee, briefed the media on the new developments at the organization, also mentioning that with the new sponsorship from Namib Sand Fishing, NNPC will grow.
As we know, the Paralympic movement or the Namibian National Committee, Paralympic Committee is a huge organization having many different federations which still need to be created within that organization. But we don't want to duplicate things. We want to do the things the right way. Definitely, with this type of support, is the only way I think we can start moving ahead. So, as we all know so far, Namibia National Paralympic Committee has now created 3 separate federations, and we are talking about the Namibian Wheelchair Namibian Basketball Association, Namibian Wheelchair Basketball Association, sorry. Secondly, we have the Namibian Blind Football Association. And then we are now in the process of really pushing for the powerlifting. But so far, the already existing 2 codes which falls under the mandate of the National Paralympic Office is now athletic and swimming. So those codes have been run under that office. But as we say, those federations, they'll be doing their work now individually. And with this partnership is the only way we can see this sport growing and to give different people, especially with different disability, an opportunity to do other sport codes and not just concentrating on the few elite sport codes that we used to do at the national level. Plus also, we just don't want to do elite sport. We want to bridge into development where we actually catch this athlete at the early age. On the sponsorship that we have received today, on the the amount that is going towards the development, as we say, it's a newly, also growing company. But we appreciate it. So for the whole year, they have put an amount for now of 36,000, and then they are open. They have opened their door for any other projects that we are going to have. So it will not only be financially at the end of the day, but whatever other support. But for now, we have started with that amount just to support us toward our development program.
The NNPC is still waiting on final qualifying results for the athletes to represent Namibia at the Paralympic Games set to take place in Tokyo, Japan from the 24th of August to the 5th of September 2021.
That's all we have for you today. Join us again tomorrow for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Maggie.
Thanks for that sport update, Chiro. Time now for the weather forecast.
First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met office. Cool, wet and windy conditions are expected in the Karas region tomorrow, so please take the necessary precautions. The interior will be cool at first, otherwise partly cloudy and mild to warm with showers in the Karas region in places. A fresh to strong westerly wind in the interior. The coast will be partly cloudy and mild to warm with showers in the south. Wind will be moderate to fresh westerly. Now let's have a look at the minimum and maximum temperatures.
That is all we have for you. Don't forget to watch the repeat of Today on One at 9:30 this evening and the Omnibus on Saturdays. From me, Maggie Forciero, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future. A hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Hey! Omba Arts Trust is not just an organization for me. I think of it in the form of a person, a mother and a friend I have walked and grew with. A friend whom I've traveled many remote and dusty roads. A sister who provided so much needed support during times of fear and uncertainty. There is a saying in Damara for people such as Omba, which is which simply means someone who will, with love, exchange your lean piece of meat with their fat one. It might sound simple when translated, but when used towards a loved and appreciated person, it gives such honor. It describes a person who will do everything to make sure you are taken care of. Besides, we all know how the Damaras love their meat.
It's Maria. Good. You want to put a bikini near that kind of this.
I have seen Omba grow and turn into a light of hope for Namibians all over Namibia. I have seen women and men grow as individuals, becoming respected members of their communities, but also valuable providers of their families. I have seen people with no hope in their eyes light up when they see Omba arrive to fulfill a promise which was made and which they did not believe will be kept. I have seen women dance and sing for hours until the dust from their feet covers us all because the old friend has arrived. I've seen women standing up in front of a large number of people and express their hopes and dreams. I've seen people who have never left their village travel hours and hours to other countries and share their culture and experiences. I have seen children grow and become young women and men before my very eyes. Omba has been the sister holding hands throughout it all. Omba has built valuable and strong relationship with communities, empowering both women and men, but the impact on women can be seen and felt most sincerely. The work with the women has such a ripple effect all over the whole village, most especially the young. Omba has taught them to fish. As times grow tougher and much more difficult, money becomes scarce. Environment around us changes and nothing will ever be the same again. In times like this is when we realize the value of a friend like Omba. It provides hope, constant support, reliable income, and keeping us all together, keeping our pots filled and our fires burning. A motivation to do better, live better, and expect better. If one day the unthinkable happens and Omba is no more, it will be a sad time for our Namibian rural population. Therefore, let's keep the light burning at all cost.
Ons die Sanmense is die eerste mense in die wêreld wat vandag agter gaan staan. Omba is nou die water wat vir ons nat maak, dat ons wortels mooi groei, dat ons vrugte kan bring, kos kan bring. Omba gee vir ons werk en van daar af lewe ons.
It's just an amazing story that ostrich eggshell beads, 72,000 years ago, the ancestors of the San were making ostrich eggshell beads, and today in the 2020s, Jinka women are still making those beads pretty much in the same way. And the work has evolved from fairly traditional products, this probably would have been worn like this, into something as sophisticated and contemporary as this necklace from the waterfall range. So here we are bringing the necklace to this gallery in Windhoek, and it then gets sold to customers in Europe and America and generating income for women, Yunqa women back in the Kalahari. So it's just an amazing thread of history that goes to this ostrich egg, to this contemporary jewellery. This basket I absolutely love. It's a finely woven basket in natural dyes. This asymmetry is very unique to Namibian baskets. And we've been working with these women, doing workshops and helping them evolve into these incredibly fine baskets. We've worked with the women developing different palettes, and there's another one with a slightly more yellow palette, but considered are the best baskets in Africa. What we're showing you in this short video is really a long journey of working together with rural communities, reviving ancient traditions, turning them into contemporary world-class products, and supporting the livelihoods of over 400 artisans. Even during COVID-19, we've been helping our sand communities with food and distribution of tippy taps. What we need to do now is to honour the trust that has been put in us over the last 30 years, to support marginalised sand communities and the livelihoods of rural women around Namibia. Your donation will help us get our 400 artisans back to work as soon as possible so that they can feed their families. The lives of their 2,000 family members will directly benefit from this. Please help us raise $50,000 by contributing to the Omba Artisan C19 Support Fund. No matter how big or small, this will make a difference in the lives of our artisans during COVID-19. Thank you.
More than ever before, football fans demand unique insight and analysis. The Football Review is much more than a highlights show. Bold, provocative editorial that goes beyond conventional reporting, setting the agenda for football discussion. Champions League, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, Liga 1, and much more. Want genuine insight with hard-hitting editorial? Need compelling premium football content? The Football Review. Best bar none.
Humanitarian crises are all too familiar to television viewers. Civil wars that cause huge movements of refugees, worldwide pandemics, and natural disasters like earthquakes and tsunamis. This is the way most of us are used to seeing these heart-wrenching events, on a screen in front of us, watching passively. But what if you could step into the frame and actually feel what it's like for the individuals on the ground?
People come out of it feeling enlightened and often moved and often ready to take action. A lot of people automatically say, well, what can I do? How can I get involved?
Garbo Aurora is leading a team at the United Nations who are using cutting-edge technology to raise awareness, empathy and funds, both to respond to humanitarian crises and to bolster support for a new set of sustainable development goals around the globe.
Virtual reality is the ability to really take part in a story that usually you're only a passive spectator on. And you actually get the sensation of feeling like you're being there.
By using multiple cameras that can record in all directions and software that can stitch the images together, virtual reality creates an experience that enables the viewer to see a movie from every angle, above, below, and behind.
It's exciting for the UN, to be involved in some of those early experiments of how we're trying to tell stories, make these films, and work with some of the most cutting-edge people in the industry on it.
So the UN reached out to us and connected, and we realized that there was a great opportunity here to tell some very important stories and to tell them in a way that we thought would be totally new and highly impactful. The way that I define virtual reality at this point in time is basically the hacking of your senses to convince you that you're somewhere other than where you are. Often, I think of it as a sense of vulnerability. So one of the things we've realized in some of our stories is you have a heightened sense of empathy and a heightened sense of connection as a result of that vulnerability.
That heightened sense of connection and empathy was exactly what Garbo Aurora was looking to create at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Not only to inspire leaders to take action, but also to influence donors to increase funding for disaster response efforts.
I started experimenting with using innovative ways of advocacy, and I started talking to a lot of different partners and people. What could we do that would be incredible? And someone said, I just came from a meeting at Samsung, and, with some of these other virtual reality headsets, wouldn't it be amazing if you got all of those elite people who could actually go to a refugee camp, or they could go to an Ebola clinic? I just really felt it would get our issues highlighted.
In addition to the screenings at Davos, virtual reality portals have been set up to view the films at high-level political forums around the world. The virtual reality film on display was Clouds Over Sidra.
Clouds Over Sidra is a short film in virtual reality about a girl named Sidra who lives in Zatari camp, which is a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan. And it is a story about a young girl who is giving you a tour of the camp, of what it's like, what her life is like. When the film debuted in Davos, it was a sensation to everyone we showed it to. They come out of it very deeply moved. I'd say half the people who watch Clouds Over Sidra cry. And then we cut a version for UNICEF, where it's face-to-face fundraisers. The way they do that is usually someone with a clipboard on the street in Europe or in different countries. So they thought, well, what if we got people to experience virtual reality on the street?
Quite sad. They don't have a good environment to stay. We try our best to help them.
Early reporting from UNICEF has shown that when using virtual reality, they've doubled the effectiveness of their fundraising efforts.